conferences. I've spoken at church services. So anywhere there's an ear to hear and there's a life to bring hope and encouragement, that's where I want to be. Because I feel like, again, we're in a dark place in our world today, and anywhere I can encourage people and just kind of give them parts of my story to let them know, like, hey, you can keep doing, you can keep fighting. I think that's my main thing, is I want to teach people how to fight, and how to continue to reach their goals even when they struggle and when there's tough times. So
okay.
Yeah.
You just touched on the fact that kids are up against different kind of obstacles, and being believers, I'm set apart to God.
Yeah.
And so being a believer, we do know that it's still the same evil that was in the garden that's trying to interfere with the lives and the blessings that people were created to walk in.
Exactly.
But as times change, the tactics change.
Yes.
And so you can see gray on my face. So we had our hurdles,
Right.
and I'm not saying they're gone,
Right.
and I'm not saying the kids of today are exempt, but you being younger than me, you probably had a different set of obstacles. What do you see like on the horizon as far as what is the stumbling block now more than in, let's say, my time or your time? So that, like, let's say I'm the age of parents of the kids that you're talking to.
Right. I think the big thing right now is social media. I think because of the comparison too, I think a lot of young people, I think boys and girls, they are so fixated on people pleasing and having to have this image and have to look a certain way. And I believe like that's one thing I really share with my students is like, you got to own who you are. I think there's so much comparison, or she looks like this and I want to look like that, or for guys, I've talked to some of my boys, they have that, man, I wish I had muscles like that, or like it's just that whole comparison and that facade of what TV, movies, social media. And I think social media has just gone to a whole different level for these kids, because again, they have so much more that they're exposed to, so it's opening their minds in a different way. Makes them curious, makes them I wish I could, maybe I should try that. And I just really believe in, like, when you know your identity and you know who you are and you know what you're called to do, and and that's something I talk about with my students all the time, like your purpose. What are your goals? Having their focus on a different mindset than, okay, I need a people please and I want to fit in here, because like I said, I think that's the biggest thing, because they're not knowing who they are. They're comparing themselves and they're wanting to be like someone else. You can't live an identity like that, because that's where you're gonna lose yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's one of the big things, just in that whole concept of just fitting in. Because of social media, kids don't know how to communicate anymore. I walk on school campuses now, and it's a group of kids, and they're all on their phone. It's like, how are you even hanging out with you? How are you building community? Yeah, you're sitting there with one another, but you're not even talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're all on Snapchat and Instagram, but it's just like they don't even know how to communicate effectively. You know what I mean? Even to communicate to their teachers, like when they are struggling. And I think that's a big thing. Kids don't know how to be vulnerable. They don't want to feel like they're doing wrong, or they don't want to feel like, oh, it's okay to make a mistake or ask questions.
Because everything on social media is so perfect.
Yeah,
and
it's like,
so
I gotta be perfect too.
They don't realize that these are 100 selfies later before it gets posted.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like even for videos, I'm like, people gotta cut, edit. It's not like it's just the raw footage. You know what I mean? But that's how life is. It's raw. It's there. And I think when students really learn that, hey, this is just who I am, and learn to own it and walk in who they are, I think they'll be in a lot better place mentally, emotionally, physically. But those are the battles I think that they face more than, because I know when I was growing up, it was just MySpace. You know what I mean? Maybe AIM. When you had the sidekick, I had my AIM, but it's like it's nothing like it was today.
No, now it's so everywhere. It's so part of your daily life. You watch the news, they tell you they have a Facebook, or at me at the
Exactly.
It's just, there's no escaping it. It's actually part. And so with that, I want to bring up this issue of etiquette. I was just thinking about this. I saw a post just yesterday of someone I know who was right, but was going about it the wrong way. Okay, and so took to social media, went all the way in, poured everything out. It wasn't wrong,
right?
But like I said, I think just went about it the wrong way. And so, as far as children realizing that because this is a new thing on our table. You know, there's table manners. There's, you know, when your mom tells you, you know, we're about to go in the store. If you embarrass me, I'll embarrass you. There's that etiquette.
Right.
There's, you know, meeting people for the first time. And now I think this social media etiquette is something that needs to be taught, I guess, from home, from parents, so that if we had social media in my time, I'd probably be ashamed of myself for the things that got caught on somebody's phone and uploaded, and now memes are being made, and and so if you could just talk about, like you said, one, you're talking about the influence and how people are not even finding themselves before they find out how to please people.
Right.
What about the social media etiquette that needs to be taken like a responsibility?
Right.
And so, like, you want to be a senator, but you're only 14 now, and you've got a friend pushing you to do something that might scar you socially for life.
Yeah. I know for sure. I always let, you know, especially my athletes, I let them know, like, I know athletes who lost their scholarships because somebody else posted something about them, or they posted something where, well, I didn't post it, I just retweeted it, or I liked it. It's like, but you're associated with that now, you know, and once it's out there, it's out there. And I think that's the big thing. It's not saying be fake or be someone that you're not. It's not saying, it's be who you are, but you have to realize when you're a professional or you're trying to become a professional, there's just certain things you have to say, you know what, maybe this can't be a part of my life, or I'm like, just don't post it if that's the case, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we have to represent ourselves a certain way as a professional. I know for me as a believer, there's things that I just know I have to stand for. I want to be an example of Christ. And I think, you know, people, yes, you want to enjoy life, and I know, like, with the memes stuff, they're funny, whatever, you know, people want to repost those things, but it's just like, again, if your supervisor was to see, you know, like I said, you can have a red cup in your hand and it may just be some soda, but the assumption is, oh, you out there turning up. That doesn't look good on the brand, and people have to realize it's branding. Whether you're with your company, whether you're with your church, what are you ultimately trying to represent? You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest thing, is we just have to be careful what we're posting. We have to be careful what we're retweeting. Because at the end of the day, not only does that, that give us away, but it also represents, like, I always think about my brand. If I'm talking about, I want kids to be a better you, and I want them to be the best version of you, I can't be posting all kind of crazy stuff. That's not leading by example.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And it's not setting the tone, because I have an expectation for them, but I have to also live by that expectation. And so I think that's just the huge thing, is we just have to be cautious, be real, you know, because I know people, I've had people say, you know, Bree, you always post just positive stuff. I said, no, I go through life. Trust me, every now and then I post, but my thing is, the whole reason I even utilize social media is to empower and encourage people, because there's enough dark stuff going on. You can look at the news and get depressed.
Yeah, you don't have to go far to find some craziness.
It's like, you just want to make some people happy, you know what I mean, and bring a little bit of a smile to someone's face and let them know, hey, it's going to be okay. But yeah, I think just being cautious of what we're posting is huge, because, like I said, that can come back on you. Somebody retweet something, or, you know, you get caught on somebody's Snapchat. And
there goes your scholarship, your sponsorship,
your job, you know, all that stuff. So
I want to talk to you about this, since we're talking about youth. According to Los Angeles Times, you say you live in Upland. You went to school in the IE Baptist, Cal Baptist, CBU. That's what, Riverside?
Yeah, Riverside area.
And so I live in Rancho, and so a string of youth suicides in Rancho Cucamonga brings alarm. New focus on mental health training. And so I'm not going to get into the whole story, but Rancho Cucamonga, right down the street here, the first week of school, suicides. Watch this. A 10-year-old boy, a 15-year-old girl, a 16-year-old girl, a 16-year-old boy died from suicide from August 6th to August 19th. And so what are we dealing with where a 10-year-old, I'm not saying you have the answers, but this is your field, and this is your mission field. And so we're talking about no one over 17 and just in the double digits. You were just 9, 8 years old. What are you killing yourself at 10 for? What are we dealing with?
I think it's a combination of things. I mean, even outside, like we said, we talked about the social media. I think it's too, there's a disconnect between families. You know, I have conversations with some of my students, and the relationship between parents and the kids it almost is non-existent sometimes. You know, if a parent works, 2-3 jobs,
Okay.
if they got multiple kids, you know what I mean? And
we're not
you're
dealing
older-
with absentee
Yeah.
parents. We're just saying being consumed by life.
Yeah, and life happening, kids are saying that. I talk to a lot of kids where they just feel like they have to take the responsibility. They see their parents working hard and trying to figure it out, and then if they're an older sibling, they got to take care of their little siblings. It's just that combination, that pressure. Or I know kids who just want to help their parents. They see them struggling. I mean, I know I was like that at one point with my mom when I saw her being sick, and I was like, man, what do I got to do to help? And so you kind of take that pressure on. I think too, just again, like I said, you have the phones that are distractions. Families don't even sit down for dinner anymore.
Right.
Kids eating in their room, dad sitting on the couch watching the football game, moms just sitting at the tables trying to do work and eat. It's just that family dynamic. Then you go to the schools. You have so much pressure at school. A lot of these kids are getting bullied and people don't even know. They're going to lunchtime knowing, hey, there's somebody out there waiting for me. But one, if they're not communicating that, or they don't feel safe enough to communicate
These
that,
things just build up.
It just builds up. Now these emotions, it's like, and I think the big thing, what I hear a lot of students when they're talking about they're anxious, they're depressed, it's because they don't even know why they're here. They don't know why they're even, okay, that's the conversations we're having. Like, I don't even know why I'm alive. What purpose do I have? Does anybody care if I'm even here or not? Will anybody even realize I'm here? That's a whole nother root issue that we got to deal with. And my thing is, why is there not enough people walking alongside these kids, from church to schools and I understand because schools are overpopulated.
Yeah.
You got one teacher to 36 kids. Yeah. That's a lot. It's going to be hard for a teacher to be intentional.
6 periods.
Of what I mean? You got hundreds of students. That's going to be hard to be intentional, but it's like, okay, you might have to set up some different structures, and to be intentional. Because I know when I had my after school program, I had like 187 kids in my program, but I made sure to get to know every kid's name. I made sure every single day, at some point of the day, I checked in before they left. How was your day? How's your week going? And it's just about being super intentional and about putting the effort for it. And I get it when, like I said, when you consume with your workload, your whatever is going on, these kids, though, they need somebody. They need people to walk along with them. And I think that's the biggest thing is either they don't know how to communicate how they feel, or they just think that nobody has their back and they don't have anyone that they confide in. But it's like mentorship is huge. I think there needs to be more mentors and people to walk with these kids because they're just feeling like they're by themselves, and I know when I was younger, I used to be a peer mediator. Like, so it's someone of your age who just kind of does life with you and checks in. And I don't even know if they still do that anymore, really, like that. I know like they have certain programs and stuff, but I don't know if they even have peer mediators on school campuses like that anymore. Because I know that was prevalent at my middle school, and like it was like 20 of us that would just be amongst the campus. We would be intentional about walking around at lunch, checking on students, in the classroom. Hey, how's your week going? Like, I think that's huge when someone, who may not be your friend, but they know, oh, hey, Bree's got, she'll talk to me at lunch. She'll sit with me at lunch.
Or I could talk to her instead of my teacher or my mom.
Exactly. You know? So I just feel like there's some type of gap and disconnect between one, how the student is feeling, and two, what their environment is helping them to do. And I think that's where we have to do better as adults, as teachers, educators, coaches. We have to think about the student first, because I even see other coaches, like the coaches, I see a lot of coaches, it's all about the wins. It's all about
the franchise player.
It's all about building your kingdom and ain't your kingdom. It's about these players and investing in them, making sure that they're able to adapt, making sure that they're able, especially in women's basketball, because again, you got the emotions, you got the, am I enough? And I'm very intentional on making sure my players are built up before I expect them to do anything on the court. Because if they know, hey, coach got my back, she loves me, she's going to push me to my greatest, they're going to go through a brick wall for me. I won't have to worry about the end result because they know I'm pouring everything I can into them personally. Wow. You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference between looking at them as just a player to run my X's and O's, but no, you're a valuable person to me as a person first, and then we can worry about the basketball stuff. You know what I mean? So,
well, I want to talk about man, you're right. Yeah, getting alongside these kids it just reminded me when you were talking, I was hearing it takes a village in the sense that even in this in academic school system, it is about these kids making it to adulthood without killing themselves or fallen victim to either streets or you know, whatever abuse is happening, or not being consumed by, like us as believers know, it's the enemy.
Yep.
You know, the enemy is using either broken homes, low self-esteem, anything, any little crack to get in and devour. And so, if we had more people being watchmen,
Right.
I could see these kids having a better chance.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about, tell me about Power 5 that I see on your on your social media.
Okay, yeah. So Power 5 is basically, the whole purpose of it is, again, it's another avenue to just be encouraging. And I started doing it too because I know a lot of people just associate me with just kind of like preaching, you know, being in the church atmosphere, which is cool because that's my heart. I'm not running from that.
Yeah.
But I also believe that God has called me to places where people are broken, where people are forgotten.
Yeah, we're called to go into the world.
And so my thing is, I want to be able to go into prisons. I want to be able to go into schools, and you know, like I said, you know, you have the whole church and state division, things like that.
Now, wait, on that, watch this.
Yeah.
Have you looked into that?
Not recently, but I mean, just
Only
from based on
because,
things. Yeah.
only because as you're going, and for anybody who is like, well, remember the laws, the church and state issue is that the government can't impose.
Gotcha.
The government can't impose. The government can't force you to pledge allegiance to a religion.
Right.
But they also can't stop you.
Okay.
So let's say you have kids in a youth group or a Bible club at school.
Yeah.
Like the Bible club is allowed to be active.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The governing body at the school
Okay.
that is, operating on the guidelines of the state, which is back to government, can't stop you from exercising your right to pray at lunchtime, to pray for people, to just come together as the Bible club and be the light. Right. And so, I'm sure you understand this already, but I just wanted to kind of amplify that. Right. The church and state doesn't stop you from exercising the power of the Most High wherever you are. Yeah. We're not saying get kicked off the job and get super extra about it, but we're just saying, where two or more are gathered, you know what I mean? He's in our midst. Two can put 1,000 to flight, or one can put 1,000 to flight, and 10,000 to flight. So no one's stopping you from exercising that, not even the government, according to their own guidelines. So I'm just saying,
I appreciate you.
Go, consider the fact that you can't be stopped. Right. Everything is done in order. You're not just gonna go wacko and start oiling up everybody. But we're gonna be present, and you're gonna be a vessel, and you're gonna be available. But the Power 5, you were saying that you want to go into,
it gives it another avenue to just want to encourage people, because I go to events and people are like, oh, do you have something else more that we can attach to? And that's something that kind of was on my heart. I was like, I really don't, because I don't do really like Facebook Lives or anything like that. And right now my book is not out. My book will be out next year. So stuff like that. Yeah. So I was like, okay, what other thing can I do that could be consistent? Whereas again, it's just really encouraging people and just giving them basic just life lessons, life skills and things that I've gone through. One thing, that's how I am even as a coach. I don't try to preach or do anything that I haven't already been through or that I'm not currently going through, because I teach people we're not here to be perfect. We're here to make progression.
Yeah, Christ was perfect.
Yeah, I'm like, we're not, we're all going to be imperfect until the end. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, at the end of the day, that's something that I just want to do with those Power 5s. And the Power 5s are the encouragement, it's discipleship, it's teaching, and it's just building that confidence. And we just kind of, through all the videos, is basically, I'm hoping someone pulls from me. So that's why we always do some type of topic, like I said, that's just relatable to life, and then I just give people a challenge at the end for that week, so that they can, again, because it's kind of like church. We get all this good information on Sunday service, but then we don't go into our normal lives and apply it. You know what I mean? So my whole challenge is like, let's go back, let's take what you just consumed, take what you just got, and apply it to your life so that you can grow and continue to move forward in your life.
And people can find the Power 5.
It's right on my YouTube channel. It's on Brianna E. Williams. It's just right there. And like I said, it's just something I'm just trying to do consistently. We release a video every week. And again, it's topic based. Sometimes I do series, but it literally is there every week just to, again, give people a little more hope, challenge them, motivate them to kind of push forward and to just, again, be the best version of themselves, which I try to push in everything that I do. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
As a believer, you think you could kind of give us your testimony?
Yeah, sure. One thing about my testimony is I didn't have that radical, like, oh, God did something in me and I was going down this pathway. I wasn't really like that. I got saved at 12, got baptized at 12. And then when I was 15, I rededicated my life, but it's not because anything really happened. It was more, I just wanted to take my relationship with God to a different level. And since that's when I just feel like my life just kind of changed. Something in me just shifted. I knew at that part, kind of how your podcast is, I was set apart. I was never a kid that kind of really fit in. I was almost popular by default in school because I played basketball. Like at high school, I was ASB president, BSU president, and I've always just been really sociable. I've always just loved people, and I've just always engaged people, even though naturally I'm an introvert. Like talking in front of people.
It's always like that, though.
Yeah, like I'm very relational, but I mean, in one-on-one, you put me in front of people, I'm like, all right, I'm a little nervous, right? But but outside of school, I really didn't have too many friends. Even now, my circle is very small. I know a lot of people, but as far as my intimate circle, it's very small. So, but you know, with my story, it's like I noticed that God uses me to be an ultimate example of how to really set the standard and to kind of push through. Like, I'm still a virgin. I have not smoked before. I've never drank before. And, you know, people could take that as, oh, you know, you're trying to be too holy. Like, no, it's more of I have a standard for my life. And I really believe in taking biblical truths and applying it to my life, period. I don't waver on that. You know, again, do I make mistakes? Do I mess up as a human? Yes. But I really take my biblical faith and my standards very seriously. I don't compromise on that. You know, I set boundaries up for myself when I'm in a relationship, things like that. And so that's what I'm saying. My testimony on how I came to Christ and how I live for Christ is not this like super like I've been through this. I was in a gang.
Yeah, everyone,
you know, everybody's sort of different. You know,
look, I was just talking to somebody about how, like, you know, how come the testimony has to be, you know, I was in a knife fight and, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was in a high-speed chase and the Lord, you know, made me disappear and I came back. When people don't realize just being born, I got 2 toddlers. The wrath of God is on them if they don't choose eternal life. Just being born, you don't have to be extra. You didn't have to be a biker. You didn't have to be, you know, 10 years in prison and killed these people, and all of a sudden I had this conversion. Just being born, because of Adam, the wrath of God is on your head. And the only way to get that cloud off of you is to accept Christ as not only your creator, but your savior and your guide, and that the spirit that fills you. And so, you know, for you to say that, I know one other person who was like, man, I never did nothing wrong. But I had to come to Christ too. And so I think, you know, you bringing that up helps people realize that, you know, you can be as good as you want to be. Just being born, Adam set us all up. And so, you know, I absolutely, you know, respect your testimony. And I think it's just as beautiful because it's the power of God. It's not how bad you were. And so tell me about Be Better You.
Yes. So BBU is my nonprofit, and the whole focus is mentorship.
You have a website?
Yep. So it's www.startbetter. So startbetter.org.
Say it again.
Okay.
You gotta give them at least 3-4 times.
I got you. Startbetter.org. So just regular startbetter.org. And all the information is there. All the programs that we offer, all the services that we offer, and it's basically. BBU is kind of like basically how my heartbeat is. It's basically to offer different services and resources to youth and young adults. So we service from 6 years old all the way up until 29. And that comes from tutoring to community service, because I know a lot of our kids need, you know, community service outreach, and I do internships. We basically offer anything that we can to help a student be able to come in. Because again, our ultimate goal is to do mentorship. So my ultimate goal is to get them in, to help them reach goals, to help them find purpose, and they know that they can count on someone to walk with them in this life. So anytime they have questions, anytime they just need to talk about anything, they know that they have someone that they can reach out to for that. So right now we're on a couple high school campuses. We have clubs on high school campuses where it's just more, it's called Real Talk, Real Life. So it's BBU Club. And basically it's just, we do different topics every week. and they just share, and it gives them a safe place where students, where they don't feel comfortable sharing, maybe at home or things like that. They can ask questions, they can get other peers' opinions, and they can see too they're not alone. I think that's a lot of times kids feel like they're by themselves when they're feeling a certain kind of way. And it's like, no, you're not the only one that's going through a divorce. You're not the only one, that's going through, depression, feeling by themselves. Like, look, there's a room full of other people. I've been there as well, even as an adult. And so that's one thing we really just try to just give them a safe place. Gratefully, with this year, we also have an opportunity to get into a juvenile hall facility.
Awesome.
So I'm super excited about that and just seeing how
Can
that's
you say
or
no?
It's out in Sylmar.
Okay.
And so it's a great, like I said, we're still going through some, behind the scenes
logistics.
stuff. A lot
Yeah.
to go through it, but we have the go to kind of come in there and kind of just do what we feel God is calling us to do there. So I'm super excited about that. And like I said, I'm just trying to grow it. We're trying to get into community more. We're doing a lot more community service that's coming up this year to end the year and then going into next year. It's just really about building more programs to help these students, and just to help young people, because again, it's just tough out there. I'm seeing it more and more as I keep engaging them and just being a part of their life. I'm like, okay, God, keep giving me creative ideas to reach them, to impact them, and help them continue to prosper in their lives. And we have a lot of great testimonies to the students we have in our program. They're in college, they're in their careers. Like, we have a lot of kids just doing great things. They're in leadership roles on their campuses. And to me, that's the best reward right there, is seeing them do what they know they can do and what God has called them to do. And that's the part I love the most about it. So,
I saw something, you do Bible studies for P4CM?
So this month I'm the instructor for the P4CM Bible study. I'm a part of the P4CM team. So I help out with rhetoric, and then I'm a part of their...
That's where I seen you last.
Yeah. So I've done rhetoric for the past, this is my 5th year. And then I been a part of the team as well. So I started off as an intern there, and then now I'm on, just like we say, we all volunteers, but we're all part of the P4CM team. So I help out with street team and marketing, and then helping out with ticket sales.
Tell them P4CM is Passion for Christ.
Yeah, Passion for Christ movement.
Yeah.
And so, go on the YouTube. That's where all our rhetoric videos are, and we do different things as far as like the conversation, which is like about relationships and how to maintain a healthy relationship, being a believer. And so we do all kind of stuff as far as production and just helping young Christians kind of live this walk out. Like I said, it's not easy, but we want to continue to give them things to encourage them and in creative ways, because that's the whole point, is being creative and things like that. So I've been blessed to be a part of that team for a while as well. So,
that's right. I would like for you to help me personally by just give me a short, I'm sure there's no short way, but give me a brief prescription for just reaching goals. General. You can be as general as you want. If you could drop one key in my pocket. Yeah.
I would say, 1, be consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. We get it, everybody starts off the year, I'm excited, this is my year, I'm gonna knock it out, That's what I'm gonna do. And then as soon as life hits, as soon as things just happen, I get a little unmotivated, we stop going to the gym, I think the biggest thing is being consistent and finding whatever it takes to be consistent and be disciplined. I think that's the other thing. I think that's the hardest thing for people is, like I'm saying, even for myself, I'm going through some health things right now, and just to completely change because like I said, I'm not on no diet, like I'm literally trying to change my lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to be disciplined, to meal prep, to get up, to do it. It's like I have to be very consistent, be very disciplined. And I think those are the 2 biggest words that I think stand out to me when it comes to goals. And then I just think too, for me personally, is just be determined. It's like, everybody says they want something, but it's like, how bad do you really want it?
Right.
And that's why, like, you'll see on my videos a lot of times, I'm always like, well, what's your why? I have a bigger why to why I keep fighting. I have, my mom and my grandmother as a motivation. My student who passed away last year, she's one of my motivations to keep working with kids. There's kids counting on me. There's kids looking at me every single day. Is Coach Bree gonna make it? Because, okay, maybe if she makes it, I can make it. So it's like I have things and people pushing me to keep going, and to, even when I want to quit, even when I get tired, even when I'm like, man, God, like, this work is hard, this what you've called me to is challenging, but I have something bigger and that's digging deeper in me, that's an anchor for me to keep going. And I think that's one thing, like, people can't just say this is what I want to do, but they have to have the reasons why. Because then when you feel like quitting, you're gonna go back to your why. This is why I started. This is why I'm gonna keep going. And so I think when you have that discipline, that consistency, and that determination, there's not really anything that can stop you from doing that, because you know there's people attached to you, there's purpose in you, and those goals are bigger than us. You know what I mean? It's for people, you know. And I think when we start making about, oh, I want to just elevate my platform, you know, that's something I just told my basketball team. I said, me coaching at this school, yes, on a resume, it may look bigger for people, but I'm not here to build my coaching career. I'm here because I feel like God opened up a door for me to witness to a different group of young people and to pour into you. This is not a level up for me as far as like, because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to become like a WNBA coach or anything. My ultimate heart is to be a missionary and a youth pastor. You know what I mean? But I use basketball as an avenue to be on the mission field and to pour into young people. You know what I mean? And so I think when people are looking for platforms and they're looking for entitlement, we're missing it. Yeah. Because my thing is people. My thing is the people who I'm allowed to be a part of their life and pour into. It's not about my title. Like, I take all the titles off. It's just gonna be Bree loving on people. Amen. You know what I mean? And I think that's where people get construed. And I'm just like, my goals are simply to level myself up, grow as a leader, grow as a person, so that I can be equipped and prepared to continue to pour out to the masses. That's it. You know, it's not for anything for my gain. I'm not trying to build my own kingdom. I'm trying to build God's kingdom. Amen. You know what I mean? So I think those are the big things for your goals. Just stay disciplined, stay consistent, and stay determined. And I think that's where you can just keep fighting. You're going to keep pushing, and you'll start to see the results of that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
No problem.
Please look into this little camera and tell them where they can find you, how they can engage with you. Just don't leave anything unturned.
Okay, so on my website, I'm at BriannaWilliams.org. So BRYANA Williams.org. And from there, you can get all the information about Be Better You, about everything I do. I also have a basketball academy, so I coach and train players from 6 years old all the way up to pro players. And so I do elite training in that aspect. And then for all my speaking things, you can find my YouTube on there as well. And then you can follow me on social media at Brianna. At Bree Williams _ BEW. Again, Bree Williams _ BEW, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on there. And like I said, I would love to reach out. Like, please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I'm not that person. Like, I will comment you back if you DM me. I'll make sure to message you back. I would love to connect and just continue to be an asset. Like I said, I just want to be used to help people grow, help people develop and become the best version of them. So appreciate you guys tuning in today. Yeah.
Thank you, Bree, for hanging out. And we appreciate you. And I just pray everybody who is watching this takes advantage of Bree being willing to pour into youth, adults, and be there to walk with you through whatever you're going through. This is Set Apart. I pray that this was helpful to you. I pray this conversation was stimulating, or maybe a confirmation in a positive way to help you be the vessel, the set apart vessel that you're supposed to be. And so with that, we're out of here.
All right. Have a good day, y'all.
Amen.